and welcome to the darkened room of music conversation. Dude, are you freaking asleep over here? Wake up, man.
What?
We got to do the show about Cinderella. Come on, man.
Cinderella?
Yeah, come on, man. Wake it up.
Oh, God, no! Oh, no!
Hello, and welcome to the darkened room of music conversation.
I'm Darren.
And I'm Chris, and on this episode, we got something a little special for you. We were digging through our recycle bin, all of our old trash, came across a nugget that we had forgotten about.
I hadn't thought about it in a couple of decades.
That's right.
That's the truth.
An old cassette of Darren and I on the radio back in 1997.
To be exact, it was Wednesday, June 11th. Of 1997.
That's right, yeah. And we had a couple of special guests on the air on our show that night, and which was a rare thing at that station.
It sure was. It's hard to do. We had to get special permission and the privilege to do it, which we worked that out.
Yeah.
And it happened, and we've got the tape to prove it.
That's right, yeah. So it all started, we were in the final hour of our show. We were doing a show called Classic Thunder, where we were playing a lot of the... you could call it the hair metal stuff. Yeah. We were playing some hard rock stuff. So it ran the gamut from like Bon Jovi to Journey.
To Judas Priest.
Yeah. Like anything you could think of that was on rock radio back in the 80s, we were playing it on this classic show.
Exactly.
The phone rings. And on the other end of the line was a voice who claimed to be Fred Coury.
Correct. Fred Coury, the drummer from Cinderella.
That's right. And I was like, yeah, right. But he was excited that we were playing an hour of Judas Priest.
Yep.
He's like, I've never heard this, before, station playing just all Judas Priest. This is amazing. And so I'm like, hang on just a second. I handed the phone to Darren. He's like, you're a lot better at this than I am of, figuring out if this is real or not. So talk to this guy. He says he's Fred Coury.
That's precisely how it happened. Your memory is spot on. So I get on the phone, and pretty quick I was able to determine that it actually was, in reality, Fred Coury.
That's right.
And
you gave him a little quiz.
Yeah, not much, but yeah.
No, yeah.
and he super duper nice guy. We seemed to just hit it off instantly. I thought he was just a good dude. I could tell.
Yeah.
And so I invited him out to where I worked, which was at a music store at the time.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, the next day he shows up at my work.
Wow.
And we went to dinner, and he invited me over to his studio. He had a recording studio at the time. I think it was called Project 1 or Project 101 or something like that.
Yeah.
In a place called Hendersonville, Tennessee, which is where you grew up.
That's right, yeah.
And so I visited him at the studio, and we just became really good friends.
Yeah.
And, I invited him to come on the radio. And a few months later, we were able to work this out. And he brought along a friend, and that friend was Tom Keifer, the lead singer of Cinderella.
That's right, yeah. And we were beside ourselves, excited. We had never interviewed someone of this caliber before.
We were both already on major radio stations at the time. I was on 104 WGFX. You were on WKDF 103.
That's right.
In Nashville. And but we weren't getting a whole lot out of those jobs, so we still had this creative outlet that we wanted to do, and that's why we had permission, and we were moonlighting on this college station, playing the stuff that we wanted to do, and having our own little thing going.
Yeah.
And so we had a pretty good following at the time, and so it was really cool. But our idea of being on the radio is we just wanted to sound like normal guys, hanging out, being goofy, and playing music that we loved. That at the time, you got to understand, this was the mid-90s, hair metal, hard rock. You could not find that stuff on the radio at that point in time. So that was what attracted us to wanting to do a show like that.
Yeah, exactly. We wanted to play something different, something unique.
Exactly.
That would attract people to listen, who remembered that stuff.
And it worked. I mean, people ate it up. Totally. And then lo and behold, by the late 90s, there was all this resurgence of hair metal and stuff, and VH1 started doing special shows on it and all this, and it kind of got going again. It was really odd. All right, so a lot of cool stuff happened when I met Fred. Around that same time, my little brother was dating this girl. Shout out to Michael, what's up? He was dating this girl named Crystal, and he said, hey, Crystal's brother is a musician, and he wants to meet you.
Yeah.
And the guy's name was Lee Darby. Amazing musician.
Yeah.
And me and Lee started writing songs together. and we hit it off really good as just like songwriting partners. And before long, we had like a stack of like 10, 12 demos that we had done. And, this was around the time that I'd met Fred.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be that guy, like, I'm a musician. But eventually I gave him a tape.
Yeah.
And he heard it, and he was producing a lot of local bands, and he really wanted to work with a modern rock type outfit.
Yeah.
So when he heard our tape, he's like, hey, I really like this, and I want to do a band that's in this kind of style. And we were kind of like wanting to be kind of like Stone Temple Pilots, with a little bit more of a metal edge, and all the solos, I played were more metal sounding and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So that was kind of what we were doing. We were trying to do something that kind of stood out in a crowd.
Yeah.
So he came on board, and he was our producer, and eventually Lee and myself had the idea to maybe do a Cinderella cover song.
Yeah.
And so I initially wanted to do Somebody Save Me. Lee suggested that we do Night Songs.
Yeah.
So in the end, we actually did a cover version of Night Songs, and Fred and Tom appeared on the track. It was never released. I think it turned out really cool. We'll give you a little sample of it.
Right here.
Not too much, because we don't want to get sued.
Right.
They have better lawyers than we do.
Right.
So we can't get ourselves in trouble here. But anyway, it was a lot of fun. Fred and Tom were just awesome guys. So at this particular time, Cinderella had, they were no longer with Mercury. They were going to do a greatest hits as a last album. And they recorded a new track in Nashville at Fred's studio. I was there for part of that, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And eventually, about a year after this interview, they actually reformed and went out on the road. And it did really well.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
And at that particular time, Fred had come to me, and like I said, we were pretty close. And he was saying, "Man, we're having a really hard time coming up with a name for our tour. We can't think of anything." And so I remember I made a list of a few different ideas, but the first thing that popped in my head was Unfinished Business. I said, well, how about you just call it the Unfinished Business Tour?
Yeah.
It sounded like, I don't know, it kind of had that gangster feel to me.
Yeah.
Italian gangsters. And he's like, ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, in the end, they did name their tour the Unfinished Business Tour. And I got the t-shirt to prove it.
There it is.
I named a major rock tour, and all I got was this lousy t-shirt. No, this is a cool t-shirt. I love it.
It is.
So there you go.
Yeah.
So and at the time of the interview, I thought it was really cool. It just seemed like they were in a really good place personally.
Yeah.
There was no pressure from the record company. They were digging Nashville. When we did the interview, we had a blast. It's not perfect or anything like that.
Right. Yeah, they hung out the whole 3 hours.
The whole 3 hours.
Yeah.
Very jovial and funny.
Yeah. Yeah, and we tried to, ask them some questions and pry a little information out of them, but, they just kind of took it in stride. It's like they gave us funny answers and all that. But you're going to hear it here in a second, because we're going to play you the interview part from the 3 hours that they hung out.
Exactly. And one of the things that I love about this is, number one, they didn't do interviews around this time very often. It's hard to find any interviews with them during the 90s. And Tom is a really nice guy, very thoughtful, very reserved. He's smart. Most of the interviews you see, and Fred's a brilliant guy too. Most of the interviews you see, they're very serious, and they cover their career and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You'll hear in this interview, you will never hear Tom like this in any other interview.
Right.
He is completely at ease.
Yeah.
Completely one of the guys. And I think we did get some pretty good information out of him at times. There's some things that when I listen back, I'm like, ooh, I forgot about that. And I bet the majority of the people don't know these things that are fans of Cinderella. So I do think it's, once again, not perfect, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And with the recent passing of Jeff LaBar, I've just been thinking about all this lately, and I'm like, I wonder if I can find these tapes.
Yeah, sure enough, he did. Yeah,
sure enough, I did, and thankfully we had it recorded because I'd forgotten so much. We actually got together and listened to it not long ago, and we were rolling. It was it was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. So I hope you guys enjoy it. And like I said, I'll apologize for us being immature dorks. We were in our 20s just doing what we did.
We were doing such straight-laced, serious, professional radio that this was our outlet.
Exactly.
So we would always let loose and be as goofy as possible. So
right.
That's why it's pretty stupid.
Right. And I remember at the time, Fred had told me, before we did the interview, look, we don't want to do anything serious. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We don't want to talk about any, music business type crap. Right. We just want to hang out with you guys and play songs we like. So they all night long they were playing Zeppelin and Judas Priest and Faster Pussycat and Motley Crue.
Yeah, a few Kiss songs
and Stone Temple Pilots. Just a wide variety of stuff that they just really liked and we liked. Mm-hmm. And it was a lot of fun.
It was.
And like I said, definitely leave us your feedback on what you think about hearing this interview. And it's kind of a cool little moment in time.
It really is. And I seem to remember at some point in this interview there was something about a banjo going upside somebody's head.
Yeah.
So
you have to listen for that.
It was a little nugget of a preview. So all right, let's roll the tape. You guys take a listen, and we'll be back when it's done.
Sounds good.
All right.
Classic Thunder, Vol States 88. Darren Futch along with Chris Barrington. And we are not worthy. We are not worthy because in the studio right now we have with us Tom Keifer and Fred Coury from the band Cinderella. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hello.
Thank you. How are we doing tonight?
We're doing all right.
Hey, it is definitely an honor to have you here, and I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedules to join us because we're going to have a good time tonight. Absolutely.
Great. Well, thanks for having us. It's been nice being had.
Well, the first thing I want to ask you, and this isn't going to be like basically an entire interview type thing tonight. We're just going to hang out, play a lot of cool stuff, play a lot of stuff from you guys. But there are some things that I know people are wondering about. How did you end up in Nashville, of all places? I understand you came here at different times. And Fred, were you first?
Yeah, I came first. I was back in Philadelphia trying to figure out musically what was actually happening with what's happening on the radio and this and that. And I figured, hey, this country music thing might be okay. And because the rock station back there played nothing but Grateful Dead. So when it's that or country, I prefer country. And I got down here. And man, am I sick of country.
And what about you, Tom?
I came here, basically because I think this town has a lot of great songwriters and musicians and, a lot of talented people here. And it was getting a little stifling in New Jersey. There wasn't the creative atmosphere up there, so...
Right.
That's what I meant to say.
Well, we are absolutely glad that you made it here. This is great having all these rock stars living in Nashville, the so-called home of country music. Pretty bizarre, so glad you're here. All right, we're going to play some Cinderella here coming up in just a couple of minutes. We're going to have a break. We're going to kick it off with the classic Shake Me, so you definitely want to hang tight for that. And Classic Thunder, Vol States 88, and there is requested Faster Pussycat, requested by Fred.
Absolutely.
It's Freeform Fred tonight, playing anything he wants to play, and if he, maybe once he quits bogarting it, then Tom can play some stuff that he wants to hear a little bit later. That's a really cool song there. Came out back in 1991 from the album Whipped. Good band, too. And you knew Tammy, right?
Yeah, Tammy and I were... very, very close friends, and when we moved out to California, we lived with Tammy for a while.
Is that right?
That was an experience in itself.
I bet that was wild, right?
That was
beyond wild.
Nuts, absolutely.
Yeah. Got any stories that are clean that you could share with us about that?
Not a one.
Somehow I knew that. All right. Hey, let's talk a little bit about the Greatest Hits CD that just came out back in, I think it was, the 20th of May?
Yes.
All right. Let's talk about that a little bit. How did that whole thing come about?
We thought that it'd be really cool to make a great album, so we did a Greatest Hits record. And it was really easy, too, because the songs were all done. So, No, we just thought it was a good time to put, together a collection, and the record company wanted to do it. Mm-hmm. And they really seemed behind it at the time. And
when did this start?
We did a gig back in the fall in a club in Jersey. It was a benefit for a mutual friend of ours. He used to play guitar in a band called Tangier.
Yeah.
And we kind of started talking about maybe getting back together after that gig because we all had a good time.
Sure.
And next thing, the record company was like, well, it's a good time for a greatest hits record. We're like, cool. How about a new track? And one thing led to another, and we recorded the new track, and here it is.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. The new track was actually recorded in Hendersonville, right?
Yes, it was. Believe it or not.
Wow. And a little bit about that song. I know it was co-written by Desmond Child. What are you guys doing in? Oh man, they're throwing.
No, we have a protective bulletproof glass.
So it was co-written with yourself and Desmond Child.
Yes, I co-wrote it with myself. Me and my shadow.
This may be a long 3 hours. Just kidding, gentlemen. Just kidding. I think it's a great song. First, that's what I'm trying to get to, okay? It's a great song. I think it sounds wonderful. And we're going to play it here in just a little bit. But right now, we're going to play some more stuff that, no surprise here, Fred wants to hear. And it is from Creatures of the Night.
That would be Kiss.
Absolutely. And this is War Machine on Classic Thunder on Vol States 88. Yes, there's the lawsuit portion of our program. There's Stone Temple Pilots. And before that, it was Kiss with War Machine. A couple of songs that kind of have the same riff, I would say.
I think that War Machine is one of the coolest songs the Kiss has ever done.
I would have to concur with that. Definitely, that was their best album.
I think it's the coolest song that Stone Temple Pilots ever done.
That is true. All right, Classic Thunder.
Just kidding.
Yeah, Classic Thunder, Darren Futch along with Chris Barrington. Of course, our special guests are Tom Keifer and Fred Coury from the band Cinderella. Once again, welcome. I'm glad you could be here tonight, taking time out of your busy schedules. Let me ask you this.
I was about to introduce our new manager. Johnny here is taking over the show.
Yeah, we got Johnny here. He's managing for the evening and doing a
great job.
Doing a wonderful job, actually.
He's corrected us several times.
Yeah, shut us down.
I think he's doing a good job keeping that seat warm over there.
That's true. All right, tell us a little bit about what are your immediate plans for the future as far as Cinderella is concerned.
No immediate plans, Bob.
Johnny, would you like to step in at this point? What are their plans?
Nah, we're looking for a record deal. We're looking for the right situation. That things kind of went south with us and our old label. We won't mention the name of that because that would be indiscreet. Mercury. And just kind of looking for that right situation where someone's going to get behind the band and believe in the band. And we've had a couple offers from some labels, so we're kind of whining and dining some offers.
Right.
So,
absolutely one of the most metal-esque things that you guys have ever done. Hey, guys, we're on the air. Nothing like live radio. Darren Futch along with Chris Barrington. Classic Thunder with Tom.
I was just having an argument with our new manager.
Oh, no, there's problems already, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's out of there.
Get out of here, Johnny. Beat it. Get going. All right. Hey, great song there we just heard from the Night Song CD. Very reminiscent. When I hear stuff like that, man, it's like I think about Cinderella and what a
like
great...
this?
I think about what a great live band you guys were. I was talking about while we were listening to that. In fact, you guys came, I believe, with Bon Jovi a couple times on the Night Songs tour. Came back and actually played a show. I remember this extremely well. One of the other stations in town had this little benefit concert, and Richard Marx actually played after you guys, which was quite an embarrassment for him, I'm sure, because I was there. I sat through about 3 of Richard's songs, and boy, was I bored. It was like basically watching my grandma do a set after you guys got done. And, I mean, do you remember much about that show and how that came about? Okay, maybe not.
We make it a policy not to talk about other artists. We're fans of Richard Marx.
Right.
And
well, I don't expect you.
He's fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I think he is.
No, seriously. I mean, it was kind of like a weird thing that.
Right.
It was a benefit, and he was going to go on last, and it probably wasn't a good idea.
It wasn't. It definitely wasn't. You guys blew him away. Of course, I could go up there with a banjo by myself and blow Richard Marx away, so it wasn't that big of a deal, I guess. But
you were so
just kidding.
See, now I didn't even know you played banjo, man. Come on, let's hear some banjo.
I mean, that shows he's a wuss.
Hey, you stop it. You've been quiet up to this point. I'm going to have to kick your ass in front of Cinderella. They'll really think I'm cool then. All right.
He's going to do it on a banjo.
That's a banjo print upside my head, right?
All right.
Come up, you don't make me come upside your head with his banjo, son.
It's an argument backstage at Hee Haw. I can hear that now.
Man, this is cool. We're sitting here in Gallatin, Tennessee, of all places, and we have Cinderella here. It's like, all these people out here, they're usually, when you have a radio guest, it's like, here's Johnny Johnson. He won the pig races last year. And damn if we don't have Cinderella up here tonight. So this is exciting stuff.
Happy birthday goes out to Duffy Minkman, turning 104 today, and he's Bagaspy, Idaho. Happy birthday there, buddy.
And the cool thing is he wrestled a pig to the ground today.
Still got it after all those years there, Duffy.
You'll see it on the news tomorrow, I'm sure.
Absolutely. That is so cool. Living Dangerously, that is off of the very first Arcade album, which is an excellent album that, of course, Fred Coury played drums on. Why don't you talk about that band a little bit?
Where do I start?
How did the whole project come about? Because obviously it was kind of like a super group with Stephen Pearcy and all that in there.
Well, Stephen and I met in Germany a long time ago when we were doing a Monsters of Rock European thing. And we always, we just got along so good. We always talked about just doing a side project and having a bit of fun. And after Cinderella and I parted ways, I called him up and he was ready to do the same with Rat. So we did that we did 2 tours with that and 2 records and had a great time with it.
So you guys opened up a show for Bon Jovi on the tour for the first album, and it was a great show.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was here, right?
Yeah, sure was.
Yeah, it was
the Miserable Auditorium.
It was great at the time.
It really was. It was a great show.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a good change.
Right.
For a little while, and then it was enough of that.
And then Nirvana came out, right?
Right, exactly.
Oh, man.
Yeah, thanks for adding that
in. Which actually leads us to our next topic, which we're going to play a song here in just a second off an album that I thought was a great record, Cinderella Still Climbing, which did not have Fred on it. And Tom, we're actually going to play the song Bad Attitude Shuffle. Talk about a little bit about the record, and apparently the record company didn't stand behind it like previous releases. And what was that like for you?
I think they stood on it.
I mean, obviously
held it down. No, it was a cool record. We had a great time making it. I think we got some good tunes on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it wasn't worked or marketed, promoted, whatever the hell you want to call it. You know, the way they did with our other records. So, and after that's when they decided, well, guys, it's been nice knowing you, and don't call us, we'll call you, and we probably won't even call you, and so.
I mean, obviously, I realize that it must really suck when that happens, but what was your thoughts?
It's liberating too,
right? Well, that's true. I'm sure it is in some ways, but what were your thoughts when you think back and you're like, man, this is a company that I've worked for that earned them millions of dollars, and here they probably let you ride around in the company jet anytime you wanted once upon a time, and then all of a sudden they come back and they're like, well, guys, it's been nice knowing you. See you. I mean, how did you react to that?
Well, I mean, what can I say? It sucks. You become a number after a while to the big corporate record machine, and it's there's nothing you can do about it. It happens to everybody,
right?
Eventually, and you just got to keep doing what you believe in,
right?
And things turn around,
right? And I think things will turn around.
I think Mercury's going to get their karma. That's what I think is going to happen. I'm praying for the day.
I know that a while back that I heard that, I believe I read it in a magazine like Metal Edge or one of those, that you were working on a solo project. And can you bring us up to date on that? Was there any truth to that? Or where's the status of that at this point?
Yeah, I was working after the band got dropped, and we didn't really break up. We just kind of wandered off from each other because there was nothing going on.
Right.
And I started doing some stuff, on my own with some friends of mine. The guitar player from Tangier played guitar, and
Doug Gordon.
Yeah,
great player.
Yeah, he's played on the solo stuff, and the drummer who toured with Cinderella on our last record, Ray Brinker, played on my solo stuff, and a couple other local guys from Jersey. And we cut a whole record. We cut 10 tunes, and I've been shopping it and got a little interest in it, but nothing's really solid yet on it.
And what type of vein is it? I mean, is it reminiscent of Cinderella at all? Is it totally different?
It's different in some. And the biggest difference is that I'm singing in a lower register. I'm not singing as high as I was, but it's still rock and roll. But I think it reflects a different side of my writing and influences and stuff. Where, like, the best way I can describe it is Cinderella was more like the British blues heavy influences, like Zeppelin, Stones, Humble Pie, that kind of stuff. And this kind of shows more like I grew up with a lot of stuff like Skinner and the Eagles and that kind of stuff, and Creedence, and more American kind of sound, and country blues, rock and roll. This is more along that lines.
Cool. That sounds killer. I can't wait. Hope that gets released. Hope you have a lot of success with that. So we'll look forward to hearing that in the future. Absolutely.
Thank you.
No problem. We're going to hear the song Bad Attitude Shuffle now from the album Still Climbing. Anything that you want to tell us about this song? It was my favorite song on the record, by the way.
Was it?
Yeah, absolutely.
That is one of my favorites. I liked it.
Yeah.
I guess the most interesting story is how we screwed up the sound of a $5,000 microphone.
This is such
me singing through my hands like this in the beginning. That's,
well, it sounds
you can do it with any microphone. You kids at home can sing "When I Get Up in the Morning."
All right, well, let's hear it now.
I think the song speaks for itself.
I think so, too.
I woke up one day in a really bad mood, and I wrote this song. I wrote it at like 9 o'clock in the morning. I just rolled out of bed, and I was pissed off about something.
Well, that's rock and roll. Here it is. This is Cinderella from the album Still Climbing. Bad Attitude Shuffle. Classic Thunder. Ball States 88. Darren Futch along with Chris Barrington. One of the all-time greatest songs in rock and roll history. And it's been an hour and a half, and Tom actually got to play something he wanted to hear. It was Zeppelin, Trampled Underfoot. Before that, of course,
Thanks, Fred.
All right. Bad Attitude Shuffle.
Checks in the mail.
You got to clear that with Johnny first.
No, I don't have to clear it. He just gets like 20% of
it. Oh, B. If you're just joining us, it's Tom Keifer and Fred Coury from the band Cinderella, hanging out with us until the midnight hour. How ironic, huh? Cinderella hanging out till the midnight hour. Pretty interesting stuff. All right, 230-3618. If you want to play anything in the world, we'll have to clear it through Fred.
They look perplexed. He's talking about the cartoon Cinderella at midnight. And
hope we have a ride home.
Yeah, really. All right.
There's a blank look on their faces. I had to clear it up. I'm sorry.
It's been a while. That's okay.
I still feel blank.
That's usually what happens when Darren tells a joke. So
I don't feel clear yet.
Stop it. Say anything. What are you guys doing?
We're trying to have fun, man.
Yeah, that's good. It's like, I don't know. I have this thing that I'm afraid they're talking about me or something when we're not. I don't know. You're talking out of your breath. I can't hear you. I get a little bit nervous about these things.
I definitely would be nervous.
All right. So what do we
got to watch that Johnny guy.
Yeah, Johnny.
Troublemaker.
Yeah, he's behind you. Look out, right? Okay, before it gets out of hand. Chris, why don't you take over and read something, right?
Okay. There's no job like the Coast Guard. Opportunities, security, great pay, and benefits.
Coast Guard. Yeah.
An important job that gets respect. Rescuing people, busting drug smugglers, protecting the environment.
Respect.
Call the Coast Coast Guard. 1-800-424-8883. Jobs that matter.
He said job.
All righty. We're going to be back in a flash with more Cinderella, more stuff that they want to hear. We've got some Thin Lizzy by request right after this. Don't go anywhere. Classic Thunder, Vol States 88. Darren Futch along with Chris Barrington. Very special guest tonight, Tom Keifer, Fred Coury with us. Having a good old time playing some good stuff there. Judas Priest. Before that, we heard from Kix, requested by Fred, of course, and Cold Shower. Great band. I thought they were a great band live.
They were a great band.
Absolutely. And they had this obsession with songs that had cold in the title. They did Cold Shower. They did Cold Blood. They did Cold Chills. And I hear
Funky Cold Medina.
And they're working on a new song. I think it's called
Medina. That was them, wasn't it?
I think it was.
Yeah. They had a different singer then. Definitely a different singer.
Oh, me. So did you guys ever tour with Kix at any point?
They played a couple shows with us. Mm-hmm. I forget what tour it was. I think it was Long Cold Winter.
Mm-hmm. They were opening, I'm sure, by that point.
Yeah, 2 shows, 1 show.
All right.
3. No, I think they did 3.
Did they do 3?
Yeah, they might have done 3.
2.5. Definitely 2.5.
Fred, I understand that you have a studio in Hendersonville, Tennessee. In fact, that's where War Stories was recorded. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, it's a studio in Hendersonville, Tennessee. War Stories was recorded there.
Can you add anything to that?
What about some of the bands that you've worked with locally? What kind of talent?
Hold on, I'm getting up to this. It's called Project One Recording. It's in Hendersonville, and it's a great place. It's been a studio for years. You know, a lot of different people have been in there, and a lot of old country people have recorded in there. And some of the bands that I'm doing now, I just did a band called Catawampus, which is Tom actually came in and guest soloed all over the friggin' thing.
Cool.
They're great. They're like a southern rock type of hard rock thing.
I've heard them. They're great.
Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah.
And the band I'm working with now is called Asylum Suite.
Yeah.
They're from Knoxville area, and they tour up and down the East Coast. They're really a cool band, just basic, hard rock, and really a great bunch of guys. And I started another one sometime in July.
Sounds great.
Record.
So you actually are handling the production duties for these bands, right?
Yeah, on the Cinderella thing, I co-produced with Tom and a guy named Marty Hornberg from California, who's a huge R&B guy.
Right.
And on this other stuff, I'm producing and engineering everything.
Right. So, what are your plans in that aspect of the business? Is that something that you might pursue on down the road, more production type stuff?
Definitely.
Cool.
I really like doing it. It's a lot of fun for me to do that, and it is another escape from doing the band thing, which I love to do that. I can't wait to get back on the road and play. But engineering and producing is a lot of fun for me, and if you're enjoying what you're doing, you never work a day in your life. So, how do you like that? I just read that on the wall here. Go to spot breaks. More news after this. We'll be right back after this break.
Person 1 sits by window.
Person 2 sits by right chair.
And guys, you got to remember this is Gallatin, Tennessee. Okay,
let me explain to the people
steps,
here.
Real slow stuff.
There's a thing on the wall here in this studio. You must make sure your microphone is plugged in correctly before the newscast starts. Now, let me tell you, if somebody doesn't know that, you better whack them on top of the head with a tack hammer.
You would be surprised, I assure you. There's been some crazy stuff happening in this building. Oh, me.
I just want to reiterate that Reader 1 sits next to the window.
That would be you, Tom.
That's me.
You're Reader 1, okay?
Well, I'm going to start reading. I'm about out of things to read here, though.
Well, that's WVCP FM News. I'm Fred, along with Tom.
All right. Well, we're going to
next question, please.
We're going to take a short break here in just a second, and when we return, we will have some more classic Cinderella stuff for you. Classic Thunder, Vol States '88 with Ozzy Osbourne, the title track there. And that was Bark at the Moon, of course, going out by request. Nobody's Fool from Cinderella before that, which was actually the first single, if my memory serves me correct. Is that correct?
It doesn't.
It doesn't? It wasn't the first single?
No, Shake Me was.
No way. Man, where was that?
Well, actually, I guess technically you're correct, because it was the first CHR single.
Oh, okay. I remember that was the first video that I ever saw by you guys, and it was. I think I saw it on Friday Night Videos back in like '86. You remember seeing it on there?
Yeah, I remember that show.
Yeah. So that was my first memory of that particular song. Great song. And speaking of which, that brings me to a question. What was it like the first time that you actually stepped out on the stage and you're like, hey, we've actually made it. Everybody knows who we are. We're just about the headlining status. That had to be unbelievable.
It didn't suck. No, I mean, once it's really it's really an incredible feeling getting up there and hearing the crowd just going crazy as soon as the lights go down. There's no way to describe that.
Right.
It's just the biggest high you could ever have.
Mm-hmm. And you were at the time were what, like 20 years old?
Yeah.
Wow. And how, I mean, were you in Cinderella from the start? Did you join the band? I'm talking to Fred, by the way. Or did you come into the band later? I mean, when did the band get together? There we go.
Well, actually, when I joined the band, the tape that they had sent me to learn was the first record while they were mixing it. It was the rough tracks for that. So the first record was already recorded. And imagine that, getting that tape in the mail and saying, hey, you're looking for a gig, we're looking for a drummer, and this is the band. And basically, what happened at that point.
And how did you find out about Fred, Tom?
Well, actually, someone at our record company knew, it was Eric Singer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Had told someone at our record company about Fred, and they gave us the number, and we did the thing and sent tapes and things back and forth, and it worked out cool.
Great. All right. And the rest is history.
History.
All right, coming up, we've got some more stuff from Cinderella, of course. And also, a little bit later, something very special we're going to be doing. We're going to be giving away an autographed copy of Once Upon which is the new Greatest Hits compilation. And here's the cool thing about it. We'll probably take like the 10th caller or something. We'll get your name, and we'll have them sign it to you personally. What are you doing? These guys.
They're scheming something.
They're scheming. They're probably saying, we're going to charge them for that. But anyway, so that's going to be extremely cool. And also, Fred, this is something, a blast from your past. We're actually going to be playing something from the Kinnison album, Leader of the Band, coming up a little bit later, the thing that you played on.
I remember that.
Yeah. And also, I want to get your thoughts on Sam a little bit later, too.
Absolutely.
So it's going to be really cool. But we're running extremely behind time now, so Chris, you need to take over.
All right, these things going on around the Ball State campus Thursday, June 12th. Foundation Special Events Committee will be in the CEU Conference Room, 8 to 10 a.m. And the Guys and Dolls Square Dance Club will be in the Tile Dining Room, 7 to 10 p.m.
What the hell?
All right, back in the flash.
You said Guys and Dolls.
He said damn square dance. Any the people that been square dance in my garage?
Swing your
that was other
around.
square dancers.
Hey, speaking of which, did you guys ever get ridiculed on Beavis and Butt-Head?
We really didn't get bashed the pot, as they say. But
I never saw it, but I heard one. They played one of our videos on there, and they just did their usual thing.
Yeah,
according to
nothing
my
too
sources.
According to Johnny, nothing bad happened. Right?
I mean, did they say anything good about anybody?
Well, thank God, at least that Wim Stewart didn't have a shirt on that said Cinderella across it like it said.
I thank my lucky stars.
All right, we're going to take a short break. Be right back with Cinderella and more cool stuff, so you stay put right after this. Holy Diver from Ronnie James Dio, Classic Thunder, Vol States 88, Darren Futch, along with Chris Barrington, along with Tom Keifer and Fred Coury. Are you still with us, gentlemen?
We're right here.
All right, good deal. Great song there. Before that, we actually heard from Guns N' Roses' Bad Obsession.
No, we didn't.
No, we'll be playing that one again very soon.
The only song that Tom really wanted to hear, and he went outside to smoke a cigarette. And
No, I want to. I went out to chew gum.
That's right. You don't smoke anymore.
I quit. 3 days.
Is that right? Well, congratulations. That's great.
Now I'm hooked on gum.
So schedule some dentist appointments, I guess. That's crazy. So, what about you, Fred? Are you you're still smoking? Any peer pressure you got to give in and be influenced by Tom? And
you got to tell the world about my crutches, right? That's great. Yeah, thanks a lot.
That was Johnny that was smoking.
That's right.
He was out there trying to light up a stick of my gum. He thought he did.
Oh will be. All right, we're about to play the new song from the record, War Stories, off the new Greatest Hits, Once Upon a. And great song, by the way. I think it's an excellent, excellent tune. Good production job there, Fred.
Well, it was co-produced with the three of us.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned before.
He co-produced it with himself.
I co-produced with myself, which was very wonderful.
Yeah, you do a lot of things with yourself, don't you?
See that? You're starting that crap again. Go ahead, tell everybody everything.
Troublemaker, this guy.
Yeah, he is a troublemaker, isn't he? All right.
Finally, somebody agrees with me. Finally,
all night he's trying to start trouble.
This is live radio.
That's right.
We don't have to be here next week. You do.
That's true. And the way
we could make it really hard for you with 3 short words.
Okay. Turn their mics off.
You can't bleep off.
You never know when it's coming.
And then you'd be hanging down at the studio with me, so I won't be doing that.
That's true. That's true, because I wouldn't have anything to do. I have no life. I mean, that's why I'm up here. Everybody knows that. So, all right. Well, let's play the new song and a Greatest Hit CD by Cinderella.
What's the name of it?
Once Upon a.
Available in record stores now.
That's right.
Available on street corners all throughout Nashville.
And the continental United States.
All right, here's War Stories from Cinderella on Classic Thunder, Vol States 88. Classic Thunder, Vol States 88. Darren Futch along with Chris Barrington. And oh, how time does fly. We have about 23 minutes left with Tom Keifer and Fred Coury from the bands.
Come on, Fred. How are you?
There we go.
He was getting like every last draw out of that cigarette.
See, you get on to him now. He brought it up this time.
That's all right. Are we taking another break right now?
What kind of a world is it? You can't smoke inside?
Yes, what kinds of world is this?
Oh, me. So we just heard from Rainbow Street of Dreams. Before that, we heard from what? Where's the list, Chris? What are you doing? We don't have it?
I haven't been keeping up, sorry.
Lists suck.
That's all right. We got some more Cinderella coming up from Heartbreak Station. We're going to play Shelter Me here in just a few minutes, which is a great song. I remember when I heard that, I'm like, man, this is so different from anything that's out there right now. Was that kind of a conscious effort to make a record that was different from the first two?
Actually, it from a production standpoint, it was a conscious effort that we made to make record that sounded different from what we had done.
Right.
Which, I guess there was a lot of that big reverb and, not as intimate of a record sound in the 80s. And, we did that, it was real acoustic, real dry. And, yeah, it was. We did that totally on purpose.
How did you guys go about selecting producers for the record? For each of your records. I'm sorry. For each of your records, I mean, you work with a variety of people. I was just kind of wondering how that came about.
Well, you check out records and, the ones you like the sound of.
Andy Johns, usually, I guess, was a Led Zeppelin type thing, right?
Yeah, he did a lot of that stuff and Stone stuff. I mean, he was just legendary. And, we had a great relationship with him and we made some great records with him, but it was time to move on when we got to the third record. And...
Faster Pussycat, actually, we liked the way that sounded, and that's how we got John Jansen to do that.
Yes, it is.
Out of everybody that you worked with, who was your favorite, would you say? Who was the easiest to work with? There's a good question.
The easiest, I'd have to say, was...
Gary Lyons.
Gary Lyons.
Who actually, he didn't get a production credit on Heartbreak Station because he was brought in as an engineer, but... I mean, he had a lot to do with that record. And he was blessed to work with. And then we did cut... Hot and Bothered with him. He was the producer of that track.
Bruce Fairburn was very easy. Fun, great ideas, quick.
Yeah, he was killer too.
He was great.
Right. So do you find that it's easy for you to pull out those old records and just listen to them all the way through and really enjoy them? Or is it sort of a thing where you played them so much that it's not as easy to listen to it all the way through? What do you think?
I haven't heard...
You've never heard of Cinderella?
I don't really.
I don't. Now, once in a great while, I'll pull something out and listen to a few tracks of it, and wow, that was cool.
Right.
Put it back, but...
Well, I know that you personally, because I've hung out with you a few times, you're into a lot of different stuff. You'll go from rap to...
Oh, I dig that.
Something slamming like Pantera, and so...
Yeah, I like everything, no matter what it is. Every kind of music is... I'm way into the rap thing because of You know, my homeboy, Johnny. He's the posse, you know. He brings it in.
It's all about the groove.
It's all about the groove, baby.
And you once met Eazy-E in a supermarket. Oh, that's amazing.
It was in a drugstore.
Oh, really?
And I rapped to him.
I bet he was impressed, wasn't he?
I rapped one of his raps to him from NWA.
Did you ever meet Big?
Notorious B.I.G.
Biggie Smalls?
The rap dude, Big.
Yeah, that's
him.
Biggie Smalls.
Yeah. We're talking about the same guy.
Yeah. No, I never met him, but Johnny turned me on to that. Biggie, 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 can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me, you know. I'm hypnotized, you know.
All right, cool.
You know that's the way it is, you know. I love that stuff. Just because it's so drum oriented, you know, it's just everything is around the drum groove. And
as a drummer,
being a tuba player,
and exactly.
Yeah, that's like me. You know, I play banjo, so I really love the drum.
You were the kid on Deliverance, weren't you?
Squeal like a pig, boy.
You say that with such conviction, man. That's scary.
Oh no,
that was real scary, man.
That's pretty good. You're finally defending yourself after what, 2.5 hours?
It'll get worse.
All right, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we will play Shelter Me from Cinderella, which is a great song, killer, and we haven't represented anything from the Heartbreak Station album, so I think it's time to do so. So we'll do that here in just a couple of minutes. You go, Fred. You were rocking on that, man.
Thank you.
That is cool. Sam Kinison, from leader of the band Highway to Hell, a song in which Fred participated in. Tell us a little bit about Sam Kinison. From what I understand, he was a great guy.
He was an awesome guy. He became a really good friend of the band. Just a great person to be around, very generous, and always like to have fun. Actually, a funny story about that, but I just won't tell you about it.
No, let's hear it. Let's go.
No, the night that we recorded this, he needed a ride home. I disappeared, and when I got ready to go, I split, and at 7 o'clock in the morning, I get a phone call, and it was Sam, and he fell asleep in the vocal booth. Left him there all night. Yeah.
Was it true that, because I found this extremely interesting, the video that had John Bon Jovi and Richie Sambora, I do believe, wasn't Sam actually supposed to be in that video? Tell us a little bit about that.
He was, he was scheduled to do that video, and we got a call from his manager about 8 o'clock in the morning the day of the shoot, and those shoots start like at 9. You know, so, and it was like, Sam's not going to be able to make it. We're like, what?
Did he know where Sam was? That's the question.
I don't think Sam knew where Sam was. So that we had to kind of think on our feet with that one. That video kind of was made up on the spot. We had a great concept with Sam in it.
What was supposed to happen in that?
We were in the recording studio, and this would have been priceless, because we all know how Sam could really go off.
Sure.
We were going to utilize that. And those two girls, you know, that are on the cover of the album.
Right.
They were going to come knocking on the door, and Sam, while we were recording, and Sam was going to be the band's manager. And he was going to just go off on them.
Oh, that's great.
That was going to be the intro.
He was going to go off.
As to why they shouldn't be bothering the band when they're recording.
Oh, that would have been great. Oh,
and by the end of the video, they were going to be chasing Sam, and he was going to have lipstick all over him. But it never happened.
That is a great story.
Yeah.
That is awesome. And listen, guys, I really appreciate you taking time out of your schedules to come chat with a couple of losers like us. It's been really fun. You're welcome back anytime. I mean that. I sincerely mean that. I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you very much. Having us. We had a great time.
No problem. We're going to hear the song Move Over now. Anything you want to add about that or tell about this particular song? It has a chorus. It has a verse. It has has a bridge.
We did this one in the middle of a tour. Took a couple days off and did this with Bruce Fairburn. And we'll see you.
Turned out great. All right, everybody, this is going to put the lid on another edition of Classic Thunder. We shall return next week, same time, same station. Once again, gentlemen, thank you very much for spending a few hours with us.
Thank you.
Fantastic, Dan.
Yes.
Thank you.
We had a wonderful moment with you.
Right.
Here's Cinderella.
Right.
Over.
Well, there you have it. Hope you enjoyed that. I hope we didn't run anybody off with our stupidity, but man, that was a lot of fun.
It was so fun. Brings back such great memories.
Yeah.
And they were such just cool dudes, man. I can't reiterate that enough.
Yeah.
Just how normal they were. And
I think you can hear that in the recording. So
exactly. Yeah. And what I just treasure about this interview is that you hear the real Tom.
Yeah.
Because most of these interviews, like I said, he's smart, he's sharp, but they're more serious. Mm-hmm. And this is Tom. This is how Tom acts when no one's around, and it's just nice to recall that.
Yeah.
And speaking of Tom, that particular night, you heard him talking about his solo endeavors.
That's right. Yep.
That he was kind of shopping. Mm-hmm. I've got this CD he actually gave me that night, which was really nice of him.
Yeah.
Right there's the song titles, never released.
Yeah.
And I treasure that. Thank you, Tom. That was very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So 5 songs that he was shopping to try to get a solo deal at the time. So it's really weird. Within a year of them doing that interview, they went back out on tour for the first time in many, many years.
Yeah.
The Unfinished Business tour, it went really well, and then they were kind of like a staple. Every summer they would go on these big bills with Poison and bands like that. And it was just like the old days. It was really cool that we were there right before they revamped their career, so to speak. And they never made another record, and I think that Tom was really protective of their legacy. And he didn't want to just put any old thing out there, and I respect him for that.
I do too.
Yeah. I think they made great musical statements, and he's like, hey, that's what we did. I'm comfortable with that. He's since released a series of solo records. Some of them are really good. And he still to this day lives in Nashville. Fred moved off to L.A. And has done a lot of soundtracking, like for TV shows and stuff like that. He's won some, I believe he's won some Grammy Awards.
Nice,
he's really had a great career once he left Nashville, and obviously a great career previous to that.
Right, yeah. Well, maybe we should leave Nashville and see if we can have a great career.
Yeah, or can I borrow some money, Fred?
No.
I still talk to Fred, and he's doing real well.
Very cool.
So hopefully he'll get a chance to see this too. I'll tip him off that we're going to do this.
There you go. All right. Well, thanks for listening, guys, and drop a like if you like what you heard. Subscribe to our channel. Spread the word. Let's play some trivia before we go. All right, ready to work your brain?
The trivia box.
That's right. See if we get an easy one this time.
Maybe we'll get an 80s metal question. Wouldn't that be
That
amazing?
would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
No. This is our arch nemesis question. Real name category.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So let's see how we're
going to get it this time. I'm feeling hopeful.
I think we might, because this is asking what is Madonna's birth name.
I think I'll know it if I hear it. All right.
Yeah.
Read them off.
Okay. So Madonna Marie Missoni, Madonna Louise Ciccone, or Ciccone, Mary Lou Retton.
No.
Really? Or May Ann Sirkowski.
I think it's number 2. I'm going to go with the second one. It's 1 or 2.
I was thinking it was 1. Because I know it seems like that her real name is actually Madonna.
It is.
It seemed, that's what I thought.
And what's the second choice?
Madonna Louise Ciccone or Ciccone.
I'm going to go with the second one. And you're going to go with the first one.
I'll go with the first one. So we'll see which one is right. Here we go. It is the second one.
Thanks very much.
Score 1 for Darren then.
Madonna. Love Madonna. Always have.
Me as well.
I think she's done some extremely valid material over the years. I like some areas a lot better than others.
Right.
I wasn't one of these sponges that sucked up everything that she did, but I think when she was great, she was great.
Yeah. One of my favorite earlier songs of hers was Borderline.
Of course.
One of my favorite later songs, I guess you could say late 80s, I actually liked Like a Prayer.
I love that song.
I thought it was great.
Amazing video.
But probably my all-time favorite song by her is Live to Tell.
That's right.
There you go.
I agree. It's mine too.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, guys. We'll be back again with another episode soon. Take care.
See you.